So yesterday you did not know who El Shadai is, but today you know that they usually participate in joint ventures with your brother's company.
Yesterday the question was, do I have interest? What is my interest? If I understood clearly in El Shadai, then I said no.
You said that you requested Mr. Dlamini to General Dlamini to do something to ensure that your brother got the job.
Yesterday, he claimed he didn't even know El Shadai. But today, he admits it works with his brother's company. Just a week earlier, he was already asking a general to help his brother secure a tender. And even the minister warned it was a clear conflict of interest. He didn't stop there. Acting as the middleman, he made sure the same companies stayed preferred. Let's rewind so you can see exactly what really happened. And hey, if you're not subscribed yet, do it now because you won't want to miss this.
Conflict of interest.
The reason for giving this name of Ngapesheya was to assist my brother to secure the contract.
What about El Shadai? Is it also your brother's company?
Commissioner, ungathi umama akaqedanga ukuchaza lento bengisho.
The reason is that you want to read.
Please repeat the part that Ms. Murray did not mention. Please repeat it. Just the part that you say Ms. Murray did not interpret.
Ngathumela inkampani kuba Dlamini.
I sent the company to the name of the company to Mr. Dlamini.
Ukuba uMr. Dlamini alekelele umfowethu ngengaphesheya ukuba ithole umsebenzi eTshwane.
So that my brother he could assist my brother companies Ngapesheya to secure the job or the tender.
Kwaseke uMr. Dlamini waphendula ukuthi cha angeke kukhonakale lokho ku against umsebenzi wakhe se conflict of interest.
Then Mr. Dlamini said he would not be in a position to do so because that will create a conflict of interest.
Waqhubeka uMr. Dlamini wathi kimi ukhona umuntu amaziyo ongalekelela umfowethu kodwa loyo muntu akasebenzi eTshwane.
He did say that there was a person who could assist my brother, but that person does not work at Tshwane.
Loyo muntu ozokulekelela umfowethu umuntu osebenza ngamaphepha wamathenda, is a document or tender specialist.
That person is the person who works with the paperwork or the tender documents.
Who's a specialist with tender documents?
And who was that person?
Kwakuba lowo muntu.
Angakaqedi ukuchaza.
I have not yet finished explaining.
Kwaseke uMr. Dlamini ngamnikeza inkampani kamfowethu. uMr. Dlamini wathi uzoxhumanisa umfowethu naloyo mlisa. Kodwa loyo mlisa akasebenzi umsebenzi wakhe ukusiza amakampani wama security ngento zamaphepha.
Mr. Dlamini then said he would assist my brother by linking him to this other person who works with the paperwork or tender documentation, but that person does not work for the Tshwane.
Okay, you talk about conflict relating to your brother's company. Why did you say, and then what about El Shadai? What did General Dlamini say or do after you sent him this?
Sorry, Commissioner. I think I'll keep on maybe going back because if I feel at some stage maybe my interpreter is misinterpreting me. So I'll mix there and there. As Mr. Dlamini now intervened by connecting my brother with this individual from outside Tshwane, then he found that that individual is also helping other companies. Then after that individual was done with all the things that were necessary to be complied with, he sent it to Mr. Dlamini. Then Mr. Dlamini sent those documents to me, that now it's Ngapeshe and Al Shadai. And Al Shadai, it's a company that my brother usually works with in terms of the joint venture when they're working in stadium or in events, big events. So Al Shadai is known to me like that. And then he said to me, send this company to Umfetu, Uguti. These are the companies that are verified by this certain individual. Check for me if are they compliant with regards to the requirements of that project.
So when you sent to the CFO, to Mr. Mnisi, the name of Ngapeshe and El Shadai, you wanted the CFO to verify that they comply with the requirements of the tender?
That's correct.
All right, thank you.
Hold on, let's be real. He's trying to act like he had no involvement with El Shadai, no requests, no interest. But the truth is out there. Everyone already knows he's lying. He's been pushing his brother's company, manipulating the tender process, and covering his tracks. And now he's about to try to make it look innocent. Let's see how he spins it.
Interest. I've paraphrased and made it much, much shorter than what you said, but I think the substance is the same.
Can you repeat that so that maybe I misunderstand?
You requested General Dlamini to do something and assist your brother towards securing the job in respect of the tender, not so?
That's correct.
That's what I tried to convey even before.
Yes, I'm sorry, Commissioner.
Yes.
I just wanted to...
Now, what I want to know is, did you make a similar request with regard to El Shadai?
No, but it happens that the same guy who was doing also with El Shadai.
Okay, thank you.
If we then go forward, can we go to the next development that I see is on 18 March, a week later, and that's on page 513. It starts at 8:26:32 a.m. Chat number 6. And you say, this is a message you send to the General at 8:26, chat number 6. Morning, General, the list of preferred people for demolition. So it's a week down the line, and you are now asking General to give you the list of preferred people for this tender. Is that not correct?
I'm not sure, or if I hear it correctly, I will appreciate if maybe can...
Well, demolition, this tender is known as the land tender or the demolition tender. You know that?
Yes.
So at 26 minutes past 8 on the 18th of March, this is a week after, well, let's just rewind a bit. You have an exchange with the General about Ngepeshe and El Shadai being the two preferred vehicles. General then comes back and says, well, this is what these 7 are wanted by the Red Berets. Will you check it out with the CFO?
Yes.
A week later, you go to the General and you say, morning, General, the list of preferred people for demolition. What then happens? Let me take you through the chats and then you can comment on my conclusions at the end. That's 8:26. At 8:33, you call the General in chat number 7. Over the page at 8:34, you call again. Lower down at 8:37, he calls you back. So there's a sequence of calls in essentially the 10 minutes after you send that message, the list of preferred people for demolition. After that sequence of calls, you then on page, remember the last of those calls is at 8:37. If we then go to page 153, actually the bottom of 152 rather than the very bottom of 152, we see that last chat there, and remember you've got to add 2 hours. So at 8:50, you WhatsApp the CFO with just 2 names, Ngapeshe and El Shadai. So what it seems to me is taking place here is once again you're placing yourself as the conduit for communications between the General and the CFO. And you have asked the General, in the wake of last week's conversation about the 7 extra companies that the Red Berets want, he must come back to you now with who are the preferred vehicles for this tender. You've had a conversation, and then at 8:50, you have communicated the outcome of that conversation to the CFO. And the outcome of that conversation is that the 2 preferred vehicles remain your brother's company and the company with which it normally partners. What's your response to that? And Sergeant, I must emphasize, at any stage during this questioning, if you want to assert a privilege against self-incrimination, you are entitled to do so. Don't want you to answer questions that might incriminate you and that you're not obliged to answer. You must always be free to do that. Having said that, do you want to answer this question?
Yes, I want to answer this question.
Then please do.
Interpreter. Oh, sorry. I thought you were going to talk through you were going to answer through the interpreter. So let me start again. We go back to 11 March. You have had a conversation with the General. It starts with you identifying Ngepeshe and El Shadai as the 2 preferred vehicles for the tender. The General then comes back with a list of 7 additional companies which he said come from the Red Berets. He says, please check this with the CFO. You forward to the CFO all 3 of your chats to the General, the one about your 2 choices, the 7 that ostensibly come from the Red Berets, and the General's request that the CFO must check this out. A week later, you send a chat to the General, you send a message to the General saying, the preferred vehicles for the demolition tender. There are then a series of conversations. Sorry, I'm going so far down the line, we're going to have to start again. So, can I ask, are you able to interpret what I've said thus far? Or should I, let's do it one step at a time. The sequence, okay. It starts on the 11th of March. You have identified with the General your 2 preferred vehicles for this tender. The General has then
messaged you to say there are another 7 companies that the Red Berets want.
General useyakuphendula uthi cha kukhona nezinye inkampani eziyisikhombisa abe Red Beret abafuna ukuthi zibonelele.
You have forwarded all 3 of those messages. The message where you identified your 2 preferred vehicles, where there was the list of the 7 other vehicles, and the message underneath that saying, these are the companies that the Red Berets want. Check this out with the CFO. You forward all of those to the CFO.
Yonke ke leyo mlayezo wena uyidlulisela ku-CFO lezi zikampani zakhe ezimbili obona ukuthi izona ezifanele zithole umsebenzi kanye nalezi ezinye eziyisikhombisa abe-Red Beret abafuna zibonelele.
That's where things stand on the 11th.
Ke ngomhla ka-11.
A week later, on the 18th, you send the general a message asking for the preferred vehicles for the land tender, for the demolition tender.
Ngomhla ka-11 wena usuthumela lezi inkampani ofuna izibonelelwe ekudilizeni. Ngomhla ka-18 wena usuthumela lezi inkampani izona ezifanele ibonelelwe kumsebenzi wokudiliza, demolition.
There are then a series of voice calls between yourself and the general.
Ebese kuba kuqhubekela phambili kuba nokuxhumana phakathi kwakho no-general.
At the end of those voice calls, you message the CFO
Kwalezo nkulumiswano ezaba khona lawo machati wena uthumela umlayezo ku-CFO
with just 2 names,
namagama amabili,
Ngapesheya and El Shadai.
Ingaphesheya ne-El Shadai.
And what it looks like to me is that once again you are intermediating conversations between the general and the CFO.
Bonakala ukuthi wena futhi usangenelela exhumaneni phakathi ko-general no-CFO.
And the outcome of those conversations over a period of a week is that the chosen vehicles remain Ngapesheya and El Shadai.
Umphumela ke walezo ngxoxo enibe nazo ukuthi inkampani embili izona okufanele zamukeleke okungaphesheya ne-El Shadai.
And I want your comment on that.
Ngicela ke ukuthi uphawule ngalokho.
Ujenene uDlamini isizathu zokuthi angisendele lamakampani amabili ukulandelwa kokuba after lamankampani sekabuyile ole inkampani sezibuyile kulomuntu bekade ezilekelela ngokwamaphepha.
The reason was that this name of these companies have been brought back from the person who was checking them.
Checking their paperwork.
Checking?
Their paperwork or compliant.
Yes, checking that they are compliant.
And were they compliant?
Ngabe ke zazi ulandela imigomo noma inqubo noma imithetho kufanele ziyilandele.
Ukuya ngami nobaba Dlamini ngaleso sikhathi ngomlayezo angiphawana ukuthi zikulungele lokho.
Yes, according to me and Dlamini was that they were complying.
Well, we'll get to that shortly because in fact they were not compliant. Yesterday I said there were 6 independent grounds on which Ngapesheya should have been disqualified. In fact, I undercalculated, it was 12. But we will take you one by one through them in the chats later. For now, I want to go forward to the 21st of March. And we're back with your chats with the CFO, 154. He says to you on the 21st of March, top of the page, Good morning. I had a meeting with Action SA and EFF yesterday. Telling me to submit 5 is an insult and didn't sit well with me. He says sit well with me, but I think he meant sit well with me. You see that?
That's correct.
And if we go to 515, we see that you immediately forward that message to the General. (515) chat 3.
Where?
And you'll see at 11:17, you forward to the General the message you've just received from the CFO. Good morning. I had a meeting with Action SA and EFF yesterday, telling me to submit 5 is an insult and didn't sit well with me. You see that?
That's correct.
Now, once again, the CFO is communicating with the General through you. CFO texts you, you text the General. Why is this taking place?
Kungani u-CFO inkulumiswano evela ku-CFO iza kuwe ukuthi uyidlulisele kuDlamini?
Kungalendlela bona bajwayele ngakhona or sijwayele ngakhona ukukhuluma.
That is how we normally or regularly communicated. That was the habit on how we conducted this.
So when you were in the car and Gubis called and raised a problem about not being paid, in fact, there was no factor specific to that situation that you wanted to help out the CFO because he was in a car and he couldn't do these communications. That, in fact, wasn't the correct answer, the truth as to why you took over the process and started intermediating yourself. The truth was that you just always intermediate yourself in communications between the General and the CFO.
Okusho ukuthi lokho okushilo ekuqaleni ukuthi ngesikhathi nihamba nisemotweni wangenela nje wena ukusiza. Lokhu kukhombisa ukuthi indlela vele enijwayele ukusebenzisana ngayo, hayi ngoba ufuna ukusiza ngalelo langa.
Akusiqiniso lokho.
That is not true.
Okokuqala azange ngithi umnumzana uMnisi beyangakwazi ukukhuluma noJenene ngoba wayekade busy.
Firstly, I didn't say that Mr. Mnisi was not able to speak to the General because he was busy.
Ngithe yimi engavolunteer ukuba ngizokhuluma noJenene ngoba uJenene ngimazi buduzane.
I'm the one who volunteered to speak to the General because I am very familiar with the General.
Well, let's go on with the sequence. 516. Chat number 1. We're now 2 days on. It's 23 March. Afternoon, Captain. This is from the General. I trust you're well and your family. I thought we could meet up today so that I could get clarity on something kumfuetu. Kane called me on Friday and asked that if Gubis want to meet up with me on Saturday. I then pushed the meeting to Monday with a view of getting direction from Mfuetu first, today. Please check with him on this and his advice, if I should go or drop them. Don't want to make a mistake on such matters because I believe the center should be one. We've discussed this message earlier today, you recall?
Yes.
You'll see that you immediately forward that message to the CFO. And you'll find it forwarded immediately on 155. It's the second last message on the page. You forwarded to the CFO, message time 6:16:20, it's actually 8:16:20 p.m.